Hallo, assalamu alaikum, good morning, khushamdeed, ji ayanu, goeiemorgen, ishpata.
Bakhair agale, ni hao, churashumbe, washmale, ohaya gonzaimes, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, hale shuma chatore, ahlan wasalan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabia, bhalli kare, marhaba, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into PTV World. You watching World this morning, alongside the very fantastic, the very amazing, the very super, very on top of their energy, Miss Shiza Hashmi and Shahzad Khan. Hello, Shiza, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you so much for asking. What about you though? I feel like you're a little extra cold today, aren't you?
Well, yes, I am a little extra cold, and it's probably because of the shalwar kameez which you are supposed to wear in summers. But yeah, somebody thought that okay, I can wear it in winters too as well, which is why I have a thermal underneath, and then there's this jacket, and then there's this scarf. So I think I'm warm for now. But yeah, there are days, and I think I'm not going to kind of fool my audience as well. But there are days, ladies and gentlemen, when you feel as if you're not at your full potential. And you really need that extra kick. It can be someone else who can give you that too as well. I mean, not literally kick.
What do you want me to kick you?
Yeah, they can say something which is actually going to motivate you as well.
Absolutely.
Or, if you see somebody, putting in extra effort, all of a sudden, you feel competitive and you're like, okay, probably I can do that too as well. So I think I'm going to have my competitiveness come from Shiza Hashmi today.
All
Because she's
right.
at the top of her energy, and let her kind of lead the show today. So, Shiza,
Well.
go ahead. What are we talking about today?
All right, we'll get to that, but I have
Yeah.
so many things to say before
ahead.
introducing the topic itself. First of all, Jummah Mubarak to all my lovely audiences out there. I know you guys are watching in more than 46 countries around the world, so please do remember Shahzad Khan, myself, and my entire team in your prayers, and we will do the same for you. I do actually remember my audiences in my prayers.
Wow.
But you do not forget us as well.
That was such a cute comment early in the morning. Wow.
Was it?
I mean, the audience might be like, oh, we are dazed.
Well, okay, that's a sweet thing if they did think so. I hope you have an amazing day. The good part is I came across the news yesterday, along with you guys, of course, that Shah Mahmood Qureshi Saab actually struck a deal with... What is it?
Yeah, the news.
The news, yes, all right. So Shah Mahmood Qureshi Saab struck a deal with China, and by the end of this month, which means by 31st January, Pakistan is going to be receiving 500,000 vaccines for dealing with the coronavirus.
Exactly.
And well, China wants us to go there and airlift it so that we can get our hands on it immediately. It's good news because while a lot of people may not be able to receive it or get their hands onto it. But it's a good news for the people who are suffering from it so bad or who are probably old-aged or vulnerable because of their immune systems probably. There's so many things going on with people, right?
Exactly.
So if they get their hands onto it, it's a good news. Again, now there's a dilemma, right? I mean, of course,
I was about to comment on this.
Yeah,
I mean,
go on.
Only if you allow me to do so.
Sorry.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, imagine that we are a population of 220 million people, and amidst COVID and all of these things where we're going through difficult times, who do you think all of these 500,000 vaccines will be given
administered
to?
yes.
Will be given to or administered to as well. I think that the first things first, it needs to be given to the healthcare providers. I think that's very important as well.
100%.
And then obviously the most vulnerable segment, that is the elderly people. I think that the distribution needs to go like this, and there shouldn't be any favorism, there shouldn't be any injustice in it.
We hope so. I mean, we really hope so, Shahzad. But speaking of injustice, you know what? It's something that I feel like, being a human, of course, we might do on a daily basis, and we don't even realize it. Do you think, first of all, what do you personally think about the social injustices happening daily in the society?
Ek hi hunda hai.
Social injustice.
Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, on a lighter note, well, that was on a lighter note, but I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that we really need to talk about social injustice very seriously, and it is
Yeah.
because that is very much prevalent in Pakistan. It is one of the salient features of every community which live within our own country, motherland, Pakistan. I'm sorry to say that, it hurts me as well, but this is what research says as well. And there's something which I've taken out for all of you audiences out there as well, so that you can have a better understanding of what social injustice is. So, this is according to the Declaration of the United States and the United Nations, and they say that every man is a joint inheritor of all natural resources and of the powers, inventions, and possibilities accumulated by our forerunners. He is entitled within the measure of these resources and without distinction of race, color, or professed beliefs or opinions to the nourishment, covering, and medical care needed to realize his full possibilities of physical and mental development from birth to death. Notwithstanding the various and unequal qualities of individuals, all men shall be deemed absolutely equal in the eyes of the law, equally important in social life, and equally entitled to the respect of their fellow men. Now, not just
I
that,
think
I'm
it's
going to
just
add something to it
beautifully
as well.
detailed explanation.
Yeah, and I'm going to add to it as well. The values of social justice seem to be rooted in doctrines of religious faith as well as law and politics. These two themes are intertwined in different ways and played out differently in different cultures. Now, for example, if you're going to talk about politics, if you're going to talk about, office environments, if you're going to talk about anything, we know, ladies and gentlemen, that over here social injustice does exist. There's favorism. There are a lot of people who are actually
Nepotism.
shaming their managers who have actually worked 9 years for them as well. And I think that there are people who are actually beating maids, who work at their places, which is horrible. And this is social injustice, that we are not treated equally.
Absolutely, it is. And Shahzad, I think, well, UN again being the institution or the charter for actually all sorts of protecting human rights, I think it did the right thing by explaining in detail. But again, I mean, when someone is intentionally, sometimes even deliberately or unintentionally committing a social injustice, they will not resort to, well, chapter flana flana of the UN talking about, they will just do it for the sake of it. And there's one thing that makes social injustices grow more than anything, and that is silence. Silence of people like us, silence of the general community out there. If one elitist person, or if one not even elite, if one person with that mentality will be unjust to people around them, the other people have this responsibility as the members of the society, of course, to question that, to call that out and stop it right there. But we barely do that. And Shahzad, the way you mentioned about the manager as well, ladies and gentlemen, it's an incident that happened 2 days ago. And it's everywhere. People know it. So two elitist women have been ridiculing their restaurant manager for not knowing English properly. And why, we don't understand, but it became viral because, of course, they were being mean to the person, first of all, and then making fun of a person in front of hundreds of thousands. They chose to air the video, na? I mean, this is a choice they made.
Exactly. And not just that, I think that the ladies actually took it very wrong as well, because they thought that their restaurant was in New York. It wasn't in Pakistan. I think that's the only difference. And that's
It's Beverly Hills, Islamabad, okay, not
that's where
the
they went
US.
wrong as well. But whatever it is, I think that everybody is actually answerable for all of the deeds they are doing in this world to Allah Almighty, and you will be asked, because Allah is the only one who's going to do the justice the fair way as well, and equally everybody will be treated equally on terms or on basis of what they did within this world as well. So always be responsible for your actions, ladies and gentlemen. I think today we're going to take pride in making sure that we always come up with, alhamdulillah, such topics where we want to make sure that everybody and else, everyone out there is aware of their rights as well. Just one simple request I have for everyone out there, you may be in whatever country, but for just once in your life, actually go through the constitution of your country so that you actually know what your rights are, and that you can actually practice them as well. And this is something which recently was taught to me by my teacher, and he said that there's so many laws which are not in place. So when once you go through the constitution, when you read everything, that's the time when you get to know that even if the police, we were having a very different conversation. He said that, okay, even if the police is going to take me, they cannot proceed because there's no law in place. So imagine what are they going to do with all of those people? And which is why there is social injustice within the society, because there are no laws in place as well. So how to go about it is something which we wanted to talk about.
Absolutely. And Shahzad, I don't know if it's safe to say there are no laws in place. There might be. Are we aware of them? What our rights are? Or, maybe I don't know the right English word for it. How there's a farz on us and the hakook, responsibility, absolutely. It's our responsibility to be just to the people around us, and it's their right to receive that kind of justice or kindness from us. And I think it's really apt for us to be in conversation with, first of all, our favorite female lawyers over here in the studio, because they've been to the show before and they explain to us, like I think laymen need to understand, and it's going to help a lot of you out there as well. So to begin the conversation of social injustice, how to get rid of them, and what sort of rights do people have, we have Saida Kashmala, who happens to be a lawyer and always comes on time here, and sort of sometimes ignoring her own work.
She's always ready. She's always she's like, whatever questions, man, come on, bring it on.
Assalamu alaikum, Kashmala, how are you?
Walaikum assalam, I'm good. How are you?
We're good, thank you for coming again.
Thank you.
And next to Kashmala, we have Afreen Athar, who happens to be a psychologist and a social activist. Thank you for coming. How are you, Afreen?
Thank you, and I'm fine. And what about you?
We're good
Absolutely
as well.
perfect. Thank you very much for joining us. So first things first, for all of those people who are out there, we've given them a beautiful understanding of what social injustice is and how it is very much prevalent over here in Pakistan.
It is.
Now, I'm going to ask you a very commonly asked question, and which is that, what are the most common kinds of social injustices prevalent within our own country, motherland Pakistan?
Unfortunately, there are lots of things that needs to be discussed and that needs to be highlighted.
Yeah.
First of all, there are certain issues related to gender. There is gender discrimination in our state. Unfortunately, there is discrimination regarding education. There is discrimination regarding low socioeconomic status and upper socioeconomic status.
Yes.
So, political level, economic level, gender-based issues, and even we can say that there are certain discrimination in terms of disabilities or inability to be with
Absolutely.
other people. So, there is a lack of awareness among people that this must be addressed and that must be felt within. For example, if you are not feeling that, for example, if I am being hurt due to some difference,
Okay.
and other person is blaming me that I have that disability or I am having that lack of thing that other person have. So what feeling must I have, and that same feeling must be acknowledged by the other person. There must be a sense of empathy among other people. So,
So
there is
important.
also a very slight variated difference between empathy and sympathy. We used to sympathize with others instead of empathizing with others.
Yeah.
So it's very important thing to empathize. In case of gender discrimination, most of the important and common lot that is being discriminated is transgender, and after followed by transgender, there are females and there are men.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
That's sorry. I just want to add a comment over here,
Sure.
Shahzad. Afreen, that was very rightly explained as well. And just picking up on what you said, I think for this segment we need to focus on not gender discriminatory social injustices, but rather injustice on social statuses.
Yes, exactly. That's where I wanted to bring it as well. That over here, Allah maaf kare. I'm very sorry that I'm going to say this as well, and that too on television. But that's how the truth is, and that is that gender discrimination actually comes very later in this part as well.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
I have even seen people doing injustice just because of the fact that your face does not look good to them. And the skin color does not look good to them as well.
Yes.
And they're like, look at yourself, kalu bahar chale jao. And all of these examples do exist
Yes.
within our own community. And I think that the sole reason why the West is actually where West is because of the fact that they got rid of these injustices at a very earlier time, and which is why they were able to progress. They got rid of all of these menaces from within the community and society, and everybody worked together towards a better future. Now coming down to, I wanted to ask Kashmala as well if he wanted to add to this as well, because gender-based violence and gender discrimination, we know that it does exist, but coming to the very social point of view is that that there are families whom I know that if they have actually kind of attained a status which is socially very well accepted, they might not even go and see their relatives. They might not even let them come over to their place as well, and then they will be. I mean, just a few days ago, I'm very sorry that I'm saying it on television as well, and I was in conversation with one of my friend's mother. And she asked me, how many kids do you have? And I was like, I have daughters, alhamdulillah. And then she went like, all of a sudden in a restaurant, do you have a factory of producing daughters only? And this was such a bad remark that I actually wanted to slap my friend instead. And I was like,
I cannot imagine people
how can
still say
anyone
that.
say that? And it was cheap. So imagine that this itself is an injustice.
It is. It indeed is. And coming to law is like something very later
Yeah,
at stage.
exactly.
As you said, it's deeply rooted in religion, first of all.
Exactly.
UDHR, UNDP, all these things came a long way. Pakistan Charter, Fundamental Rights Chapter, we have that as well. It eradicates social injustice as well. But the social injustice was eradicated firstly when Rasul Allah eradicated it. When Hazrat Bilal was put on the member.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that was when it was eradicated. That the khutbatul wida, the last sermon, that said that no one is above the other one,
Absolutely.
right? That's when
Bigor.
कोई फौकियत हासिल नहीं है, right? So That's the first step of it.
Absolutely.
So where it is, why one, if being, when is the social injustice? Social injustice is when equals are not treated equally. Those female were as equal as to that men. You know, not knowing the language doesn't, you know, give them some superiority.
Exactly.
Or having money doesn't give them some superiority. But what we do, we just, you know, it's something very deeply rooted in ourselves, in our society, that we are judging everyone, you know, based on upon what sort of color they
How they
have,
look, where
how
they
do
come
they
from.
look, what sort of clothes they wear, what sort of things they are eating, and if they are have kids, female kids or male kids. I'm
Exactly.
like,
It's 2021.
I was
Yeah.
ashamed. I was totally ashamed on the kind of mother my friend had. I'm very sorry, but I'm
No,
going to
she
put it
being a
straight.
woman herself saying that,
Yeah,
like,
and I'm going to put it out straight away as well. But there's one more thing which is bugging me, and that is that, you know, while I was going through, while I was preparing for it, the whatever context I was reading, it said that when social injustice exists, when equally are treated unequally,
Unequally.
and when unequal are actually treated equally. Now, the later part of it I cannot get because everybody is equal, right? When do we come across a situation when unequals are treated equally? I mean, this is something which I cannot understand or comprehend.
Decipher, yes.
when unequals are not treated equally. So, you know, if a prime minister is going through a way,
Yeah.
the roads will be blocked.
Yeah.
And some unequal or some equal
Yeah.
to the prime minister would be stuck. Maybe even if she's pregnant, but she would be stuck because the prime minister needs, life is more important.
Oh,
Exactly.
makes sense.
Okay.
And he would be on the road.
Oh, yeah,
so, you
I
know,
get
they are
that.
the two unequals.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
we have that sort of culture over here in Pakistan as
that's
well.
the problem. That's the problem we are talking about. That
And
we have this culture and we are so used to it that we don't even condemn it. If those two were sitting there talking to the guy, there must be 100 people out there. They didn't said anything to her. If someone would have stopped them right there, they wouldn't have posted it online.
And that's one thing. And then again, taking you back to where you brilliantly actually gave the example of how rote lag jate hain, you know, everyone has to stand. We have come across many instances, Shazad, where women had to birth in their auto rickshaws, for that matter, because a political leader, not to name over here, had the way blocked. And just to compensate what he said, I'm going to take care of the medical bills of this child for the rest of your life. How is that? So this means justice to him. Now I am providing justice. Because of me, you delivered on the road. This is my justice. You can have my money. Is this justice, Afreen?
Definitely not. And these are basically enrooted in
Compensation.
our personalities from the childhood. So it's basically attitude that is affecting our behavior. Attitudes are internalized, and these attitudes can be in negative forms, that are prejudices and discrimination, and it can
And
be
prejudices
positive.
stay
in
so
case.
long.
Yeah. So prejudice can be in any form in case we are discussing about gender.
Yes.
For example, if we have enrooted and we have developed in our attitudes that we have to behave that way. And same is the case with men and women. For example, if man is imposing power towards the women, women will accept it because that's how it is. So these are the attitudes which are deeply inside of ourselves, and then we behave in that
Which is
way.
why I'm going to add to this, because I think that this is a wonderful thought I came across, and you know,
Wonderful
this is
thought.
how
He
you
already
get-
rated his thought.
Yeah, this is how you get it, because I think that social injustice exists within our own societies and communities. The sole reason behind it is that we are so habitual of social injustice while we are growing up amongst our brothers and sisters that
we accept
you know, I think our parents even may subject us towards social injustice, where when it comes down to a son, it's a very different behavior. When it comes down to a daughter, it's a very different behavior. I think that this is the first bit which we really need to address right now.
True.
Now, because, you know, if we talk about any household, Shiza, for that matter, I mean, imagine you have a brother, alhamdulillah, I have sisters as well. And we've seen, I mean, my parents, your parents might not have done it, but I might have seen my grandparents do it with children differently. And then every parent has always got a, you know, favorite child as well. So, you know,
Right.
that social injustice exists within the household. How do we get rid of that? I think because for social injustice, I don't think that we really need to go to the court, you know,
That-
do
yes.
something, okay, you know, for something which actually exists within your own household. What should we do? How do we educate masses?
I can't relate because I'm my parents' favorite child.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
Just reiterating. Go
Which
on.
is why she lives the furthest.
I know. Go on.
Yeah, I admit to your thought as well, and you know, I'll second Shiza as well. I'm the favorite one as well, the eldest one as well.
Yeah, that's the only solution.
And then my brothers go sometime as like, पता नहीं कौन से घर होते हैं जहाँ बेटों को ज़्यादा भाव मिलता है, यहाँ तो बेटियों की चलती है.
Then that is justice, okay?
Yeah.
But that's the story of like 2 houses out of 100.
Exactly.
So that's not how, and nobody is going to quote, you know. That's one video we saw. Nobody is going to quote for that because nobody wants to lose their jobs. Yeah, he got job offers, but the hundreds and thousands of things happening every day, we don't post it. I know people reacted amazingly to that video. I even saw their Facebook page, the cafe's page, and literally all the posts have only angry reactions. I think everyone went back and changed their reactions. So I was like, wow, what a calm if we are united, but we are never united. So, but yeah, so nobody is going to go. We need to reform ourselves. We need to teach. Maybe the only way is that this generation would teach something better to their kids. You know, we need, like this program is highlighting the problem, we need to highlight these things. We need to understand that this is a problem at the first place. Actually, we don't talk about it. We are so okay with it that we don't highlight it that it's a problem. So I think that's the first thing, that we need to accept that it's the problem, then there will be solution, and then there will be change.
And that is absolutely right, Kashmala. But again, when you talk about that will be the solution, when will it be the solution? Or, I mean, how will it be the solution? I mean, how can we move towards that? Because like Shahzad said, and like we all agree, social injustice is something which we cannot take to court. Like, you know what, I cannot probably go to a judge or a policeman for that matter, okay, उस बंदे ने अपनी बड़ी गाड़ी से निकल के मेरे साथ बदतमीजी की. He'll be like, what? Please go do your own. You know what I mean?
Or so can you do that? I think that's the question. Can we do that or can we not do that?
The Constitution, what does it say about being just within the society?
I will explain it in terms of social aspects. For example, if a person is having certain difficulty regarding social injustice, and if he or she is experiencing something within the family, so the most important thing is that there must be an awareness about what I have to say, what I have to share. We must be assertive towards others, and parents must be trained enough so that they will instill that same information to their children. For example, if parents are untrained, they will share the same learning which they have experienced from their forefathers. And if they have knowledge and they know that we must create an equality among them, not equity at least, not equality, because there are certain cases when parents have favorite kids, so same is the case with me also. So I can relate with you also. So that's why it's very important for the parents to understand that there must be an environment of equality at least among children, and they must not do favoritism towards them. For example, that kid is becoming first and you are having fourth position or fifth position. So these are the things that create a very boggling negative imagination among their children, and that will impact their behavior, and that behavior can be depicted towards other child or towards other person who is less powerful than
it's a cycle,
that person.
right?
Exactly,
Keeps
that's true.
happening.
So
And you know, most of the times, you know, this thing happening within a family is very different, but I think it happens when, you know, all of a sudden, you know, you go to your father and you'll be like, hey, you know what, I have actually scored 63% marks. And this was my story all my life anyways. 63% probably, you know, because the total strength of the class was 30 students, and I would get like 23rd or 24th or 25th position anyways, you know. So I would rather go and say, main niche se for 5th position aayi hai. So I think that was a better understanding, but on a lighter note. But now what I wanted to tell you was that every time there was a result card in my house, my father would give me an example of a son of his friend who would actually top the class. I'm like, I mean, why do you actually, उसको देखो यार उसके कितने नंबर हैं, उसको देखो उसके कितने नंबर हैं, भाई किसी को क्यों देखना है, पास हो गए, दुआ करो, शुक्र करो, आगे चल रहा है काम, चलने दो. But I think all of those parents who are out there, if you're listening, everybody is making a mistake. Please do not take care of your children the way your parents did it. please make sure that you make amendments in all of those things which you
course.
think weren't right while you were growing up.
Of course.
I think that this is a way forward as well. But let's come down towards solutions as well. Now, how do you think that we can eradicate social injustices from within our own community? Where I've seen people going to restaurants, they have a maid or a boy who's going to help. He's going to sit on another table, they're going to eat a mighty zinger burger, and they won't share a piece with the boy. They will give them food probably which was 2 days old. I've seen so many examples and it hurts me as well. Thank God, alhamdulillah, that we do not have such a system, and credits to my parents as well.
Exactly.
That whatever we're going to eat, they're going to eat as well. This is another form of social injustice.
It is, and I want you both to answer, of course, but just to add a little story to it. And you know where Shahzad said that just to establish the system of justice, you have to treat everyone equally. Yeah. And it's a funny story, and at this point, I'm actually questioning if I should share it on TV.
Yeah, sure, why not?
All right, so we used to have a house help, and she was our age when we were in our college, so we were all like sisters and whatnot. So obviously, she developed a taste for KFC, all right. She had never seen it, but she did develop it. And after a few years, she got married, and my parents, of course, took care of it and everything. And after 2 weeks of a marriage, the husband calls and says, बाजी ये मुझे कह रही है मुझे KFC लेके जाओ मैं यहाँ पे KFC कहाँ से लाऊं? It was so funny, but it was sweet as well because she was such a sweet girl.
Exactly.
But this is the type of system you have to establish, and because of my parents treating everyone that way, now I don't have the ability to be mean to help, and it's a good thing. I mean, prayers to my parents. But yes, go on.
I agree to whatever you both said. Like, I think taking the action is what needs to be done. You know, as you said that you guys treated her equally.
We tried.
Yeah. So once I was sitting in a cafe, I saw a maid sitting aside from a family. So I have this habit, I sometimes just, go out and dine alone. So I asked her to come sit with me and eat with me. Yeah. So that family got offended. They were like, why would you do that? Aap hamare usse kyun utha rahi hain? I was like, do you want her to sit with you and eat? If not, then it's okay. Let her be with me. Yeah. I don't mind doing it. So, so they got ashamed.
So action speaks louder than words.
Yeah. I think you did a very good thing.
So I think that's what is needed to be done. Take an action. Like, don't just stay there. Don't just stay quiet. If it's not in my personality that I can be rude to someone. So I couldn't just go to them and tell them, "Ke kya kar rahe ho? You should not do it." I just, took an action, and I asked her to come and sit with me and eat with me. Yeah. So I think that's what's needed to be done. In my own personality, that's my thoughts, that we need to take actions. True. We need to do something when we see a social injustice, and that's the only way we can. And as you addressed it, as you told the parents that they need to amend their ways, they need to change their ways. Yeah. That's what needed to be done. We all need to take actions while treating, if I'm the eldest and I'm treating my siblings in a wrong way, I need to understand that, okay, it's upon me, it's my responsibility, that this social injustice that, okay, maybe at some point even my parents didn't understand, I should not be the one who is doing that. Yeah. We all will be having kids maybe one day, so you already have kids. How you're going to treat them, how you're going to tell your 63% wala bacha as well, wow, well done.
Exactly.
Okay, if the 80% wala is getting a gift as well, the 63% one should get as well.
Yeah.
True.
So,
Exactly, that's true, and I can relate to this as well because, our parents had this rule in place that, okay, whoever's actually going to score, from first till the 10th position is actually going to get a gift. And my younger brother, alhamdulillah, was very smart and brilliant, and he would always top the class. And every time he was actually about to go to get a gift for himself, I would actually change his mind. I would change his mind into what I
something
wanted to get.
Something you wanted?
Probably a remote control car and something like that as well, because he was always interested in bicycles and stuff. And I was like, that's boring. And you know what? We should actually get that. Eventually he will go there. I will convince him so much that he will get it. And once he'll be back, he'll start crying that, okay, I didn't want you to get this as well. So yeah, social injustice in between siblings is different. Okay, that's a different story. Because that's a sibling relationship, brother to brother, brother to sister. You cannot complain about this. This is childhood. You need to enjoy it to the max as well. But when it comes down to you being elder, your siblings having kids as well, you having kids, you always have to make sure that you strike a balance in between your kids, that you're not over there always to rescue your kids as well.
And you can't
let them be, let them be. I think each and every bit of it is going to play a role in eradicating social injustice from our community. What's your take on this?
It's very important, as Kashmala said, that we must act. And other important things which you are addressing right now, that it's a sibling rivalry, and we as a sibling are learning in order to sustain in society. But there are certain things. For example, you should accept the diversity. There is a diversity in each and every culture, in case of religion, caste, culture, tradition, religion. So we must acknowledge that there is a diversity, there is a change, and we must accept the change. And we consider as we are considering ourselves as human, we must consider other selves humans first. So it's a crux of social justice that please treat everybody as a human. So that's the thing. If you define it yourself and you explain it to others, you will be able to somehow streamline that aspect.
And just one last thing which I'm going to add to it, that if all of this conversation didn't help you realize how to actually go about it and how to be socially just, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to give you one more example, and that is that if you're going to do good for someone, Allah will do good for you as well.
Of course,
I think that's
of course.
That's the crux of it.
Absolutely. But thank you, ladies, for being so bright and insightful early in the morning as well. You're always a pleasure to have. I think to sort of conclude this segment, Kashmala, where she said that actions will definitely create a ripple effect, and do not wait for a whole community to come and act together. You can act as an individual. It will definitely make a change. This is the way forward. And Shazad, what the best part is, where we say that change actually occurs at a very young age when you have to create awareness. If you do it from, at a childhood, it's going to create a very good change in the society as well. While there are some people who are really oblivious to the fact that equality exists and you have to be nice to each other, there are also some people who are literally people, angels disguised as people. I mean, imagine a girl, maybe you too, but imagine someone as young as 8 years old having the ability, understanding, and then the capability to deal with children who have special needs, are autistic, or have any kind of needs different than hers. This is something we need to talk about, and this is the type of training you need so that when you grow up, inshallah, you won't be unjust to people around you as well. Maybe we can have her in the next segment if you do stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because right now we're heading to a very short break.
Let's do this. Good morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. For everybody who just got tuned into PTV World, you watching World this morning alongside the very fantastic, the very amazing, the very superb, the very intelligent, the very fabulous Shiza Hashmi and Shahzad Khan. Earlier, heading out towards a short break, we were in conversation with Miss Kashmala as well and Miss Afreen, who were talking about social injustices
Yes.
which exist and how we actually need to go about it and how actions speak louder than words and how we really need to kind of move on, making sure that we treat everyone equally, which is very important. Now, another aspect of social injustice is that, that the people who are actually living with disabilities or children who are autistic or, who are dyslexic, they need to go to different sorts of educational environment. And I think that this is another social injustice. Why can't they be with us or amongst us as well? Because when it comes down to universities, everybody is pretty much in the same classroom.
True.
So why cannot we do it right now is something which we'll be asking, and we'll be asking this question from somebody who's only 8 years old.
How does she know this? How has she been trained to do this? But before we do actually move on to her, here's a video of her teaching kids with special need, of course, especially children who are autistic. She's so great at it. I mean, a lot of people out there can actually learn from this. We'll come back and start our questioning from her, but here's a video. Take a look.
Let's take a look. Cute.
मैं हूं महवर भट्ट और मैं अच्छी टिप कि अगर आपके पास कलर रिकग्निशन बहुत अच्छी आती है आज उसको मैं
Right, this was Mehervar Bakh, ladies and gentlemen. She happens to be the youngest special educator over here. She's just 8 years old and mashallah, so smart. Hi Meru, how are you? Assalamu alaikum. Walaikum salam. You look so cute, mashallah.
Thank you.
Who picked out your dress? First of all, first things first.
My mama and my nano.
Oh, that's nice. So, Meru, from what I understand, your mama is a special trainer, right? Special educator. And then you took your training from her.
Yes.
Yes? When did you do that?
When I was so small, I first been working with my mother, who herself is my passion for specially able child developed by my mother.
Oh, that's very nice. And because you guys have a facility where all the students come in, how many students do you have in total?
I have teach above 100 students.
Wow. And that is a big number, more than 100. It's great. So what do you teach them? And just to mention over here, ladies and gentlemen, because Mehervar won't tell it for herself, so I really want people to know this. Shahzad, she's so sweet that while some people who haven't had the ability to probably be in contact with children with special need or persons with disabilities, they wouldn't know how to deal with them. All they require is acceptance and love, right? So she would stand at the door, and when her students are coming in, she's going to hug all of them, greet them, and make them feel loved, so that whatever she teaches them, they accept it and they learn. And I think it's such a good thing, because at this small age, if she's developing all these, good habits, imagine what kind of person she will be, inshallah, when she grows up.
Exactly, which is why, Mehervar, obviously you're a superhero. For us, we want to be just like you, and that's us being honest, because you have actually opened the door of kindness and love for all of those people who are in special need, right? But now coming down to, where I wanted to ask you, how do you feel as a teacher? And every student you have has a very different need, right? Not everybody is the same over there. It's a very different scenario. So how do you treat them differently? What motivates you to do that?
They need love. I talk with love with them.
Do you play with them?
Yes, I will.
Okay, and you plan activities for them, right?
Yes.
Do you want to tell us one of the activities?
Yes.
Which one?
Clipping and combing.
Okay, how do you do
Clipping and
that?
combing.
Clipping and combing? You teach them how to do that?
Yes.
Tell us the process.
Felt sheets and joints.
Okay, we will definitely, probably we have a video as well. We will probably play in the later while we are actually wrapping the show as well. But, Shahzad, like the video we were watching a while ago, she was actually explaining colors to the children, right? I think the video now is ready. Let's take a look at that, because this will just explain some of the activities that Mehervar plans for her students.
Let's do that.
Take a look.
और मैं आज आपको एक बहुत अच्छी टिप बताऊंगी कि अगर आपके पास लेमिनेशन की सहूलत नहीं है तो आप किसी भी ब्रांड के या लोकल ऐसे जिपलॉक बैग में कहीं से एक्टिविटीज़ करा सकते हैं। मेरे स्टूडेंट को कलर रिकग्निशन बहुत अच्छी आती है। आज उसको मैचिंग का कॉन्सेप्ट और कलर वापस याद कराएंगे। तो फिर चले अभी हम लोग शुरू करते हैं। ये मेरे पास एक्टिविटी पेज है जिसे हम लोग जिपलॉक बैग में डालेंगे और फिर डाल के इसके जिप को क्लोज कर देंगे। Where is green? Where is other green? Match. Where is yellow? Where is other yellow? Okay, match. Where is purple? Where is other purple? Match. Where is blue? Where is other blue? Match. Where is red? Where is other red? Match.
That
Beautiful.
was so sweet.
Yeah, it's cute, it's beautiful.
And it's the perfect
and
dose
it's warm.
to.
And
It's
warm,
so
yes.
warm. It's the perfect dose of, well, sweetness to begin your day with.
Exactly.
And Meherwar, you're doing a great job, mashallah. But tell me, do you have a favorite student? I know we shouldn't say this, but do you have a favorite student?
Yes, I have.
Who is it? What's the name of your favorite student? Can you say it?
I can't say.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That's
I'm
so
sorry
sweet
I
and that's
made
so
you.
mature at the same time as well. But thank you very much, Meherwar, for being with us. It was lovely to be in conversation. Do you have a message for everybody who's out there who's watching you on their television screens?
Yes, please
You want
tell
to
them
say
to be
something?
kind like
Please.
you are.
Kids should say her best effort and work hard for their people.
Yes, absolutely. Kids, no, everyone should actually put on their best effort, right? But thank you so much for saying that. Meherwar wants you all to actually do your part as a citizen of, well, the nation, of course, the Pakistan too, and then give your best to it. Be kind to people around
Exactly.
you. Be like Meherwar. We need more people like her.
Exactly. And towards the end, ladies and gentlemen, there's only one thing which I'm going to say before we wrap it up as well. But thank you very much, Meherwar. You're a cute
Welcome.
child. And you have inspired us and a lot of other people out there as well. And the kind of services you're providing to all of those kids who are specially able is commendable. Please keep on doing this good work as well. And please keep on helping your mother and always listen to your parents. That's very important. Okay, Chanda. All right, Mehroon, now I think, ladies and gentlemen, coming back to where I wanted to give out a message, and that is that, we in life come across so many situations where we see that we are actually with somebody whom we think in our own minds that, okay, he is powerful or she is powerful, or we really need to be quiet, or we cannot voice what we want to voice. And God forbid, if we see them doing social injustice, what we do is that we stay quiet. Please don't stay quiet.
Don't.
At least, if you're not talking when the entire conversation erupts, please make sure that you actually kind of guide the person right after the conversation goes away, or probably the situation fades away as well. I think that's very important. But for a person like me, I will always be there and I will always say that this is wrong and this is not wrong. So I think everybody needs to do that. The day we are going to voice our concerns about social injustices with people who are doing it, I think that they will stop and they will be embarrassed of what they were doing.
That is absolutely true, and I think everyone should be that way. Be upfront and question what's wrong. But I think the message that I'm going to take from today's show is how Meherwar's mom and her parents are actually sort of providing her with the right kind of awareness, because she's just 8, and inshallah when she grows up she will have all the right kind of knowledge of how to deal with people who come from different backgrounds, and it's only natural, right? Not everyone comes from the same background,
Exactly.
or has the same mentality, or different things. So I'm going to take inspiration from her and from her mother, of course, and I really hope you guys do too. If you have learned anything, or if you have still any questions, or if you actually want to learn from Meherwar how to deal with people in a kind way, you can write to us to ask us on our Facebook page with the name of
World This Morning.
On Twitter.
World This Morning without a G.
On YouTube.
On YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, you look for PTV World, and then Alhamdulillah, the most viewed show on PTV World is World This Morning.
And the repeat of this one you can catch
5 past midnight. Till the next time, look after yourselves. And for everybody, since it's Jummah, please make sure that you remember our entire team, our cameraman, our
Please do.
producers, our MCR people, audio engineers, us, our entire team and bosses as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you make dua from the bottom of your heart and we're going to do the same too as well. Look after yourselves. Juma Mubarak. 1, 2, 3.
Good morning. Take care.